Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce you to another episode of According to Michelle's. And today, our stage has been set and it is prepared for a wonderful woman that I thought this verse that I found describes her really good. Strength and honor are her clothing. Right. And I know she has a bright future. So the verse continues to talk about her expected future. She is happy about her future. So we're going to talk a little bit to Professor Stacey Deering today, ladies and gentlemen. It's Women's Month, and I'm excited that everybody has gathered to see my special guest today. And we are going to just put our hands together and welcome her to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Professor. How are you? Welcome.
I'm contending. I'm hanging in there. I appreciate you for thinking of me, Miss Shells. I appreciate you so much.
Yes, it is a pleasure to finally sit with you and just to see what goes on behind that great mind. You know what I'm saying? I've been following you on social media and I've gotten fascinated. And some of the things you post, it gives you food for thought and action. And sometimes you wish you can do something, but I like the fact that you're already making steps out there. And so I'm excited to hear all about it. So first of all, introduce yourself to my audience.
Okay, well, I am Professor Stacey Deering, #Professor D from the 313 on Instagram. So I am a professor in the Metro Detroit area. I teach in the Political Science Department at Eastern Michigan University. I'm teaching urban politics and the legislative process, but I've been teaching for over 5 years now. So I was teaching at Wayne State also, where I'm working on my PhD. I'm wrapping up my PhD in urban politics. I'm in the dissertation phase. Pray for me because it's a journey, truly. Mm-hmm. So I've taught American government, I've taught public policy, public administration, and urban politics is always my favorite to teach. Awesome. And now I'm teaching the legislative process during the midterm year. So it's interesting.
Awesome. So you basically go through the different arms of government in your different classes, or it's just
so it depends on the topic area. So with urban politics, I spend a lot of time talking about local government operations, especially studying how cities like Detroit run, Chicago, historically, just to give my students a better understanding. If it's American government, I'm just helping them understand our American government system, the history of it, and how it works. So the legislative process, I spend a lot of time explaining how Congress operates at the state and national level.
Awesome. Yeah. I always was fascinated with those kind of topics when I was in like high school and stuff. Like, you know, you look at how the whole, and then you say, oh, and then, you know, that kind of aha moment. So that should be interesting sitting in at the college level to hear everything all about it. So, you're a professor. What caused you to go down this road of urban politics? What was that moment that triggered that taste, that yearning?
So it actually happened during my master's journey. So I finished my undergrad at Eastern and my master's, which is why I decided to go back and teach there. So when I finished my undergrad, I honestly was going the law school path. So I jokingly say I'm a law school reject. So I started law school. I was about 3 semesters in, and it just was not a good match for me. So I decided to go get my master's in public administration instead. When you go for a master's, they have you have a major and then you have a minor or two. So my major was nonprofit, but my minor was urban politics and local government. And I threw a little bit of HR in there just to, you know, sweeten it. But with all those classes, urban politics became the core for me because I have a passion for studying a lot of things that happen in urban areas, like the social ills and things that plague, especially the Black community. So right now I've been studying education and equity and equality a long time, actually, but just the things that happen in urban communities, studying it and helping others understand, and then understanding local government operations, because most citizens don't. They don't even understand why they should be voting in local elections and not just presidential elections. So that's what really sparked it.
Right. And that's the funniest thing too, because growing up, if I don't, so I'm from Jamaica, and when you think about elections, I know we call them the general election. So that would be the one that brings in the prime minister versus so it would be the same thing as the presidential elections. But if I'm not mistaken, the both local and general persons were always going out for voting. So I think at some point it would wane off a little bit, but I think growing up, the importance of the local government was really, knocked into our heads. I'm trying to scan my memory, because I know there were times in the period where the elections weren't so hot, depending on what was going on in the country at the time. So I think a lot of persons need to realize that it's important to just go out and vote, especially when you think about all those persons who suffered, just to give us an opportunity to vote. So yeah, kudos to you. I remember the most recent, one of your posts, you're talking about having some discussion in the community. The actual title is a little vague in my memory right now, but I remember that I see a lot of your stuff, you take it actually from the classroom into the community. And what has that been for you, just taking what you've been doing in the classroom into the community? What has it been like for you?
It's been kind of like a circle of fulfillment, because I'm not actually on this journey of higher education for myself. I'm really doing it so that I can reach back to my community and the generations to come behind me to educate and empower them, because I really do believe knowledge is power. But it really started because I was doing some consulting work with the Charles Wright Museum of African American History for about 3 years. So I just wrapped up the last bid that I did there in late October of last year. So the biggest project I worked on was the Voting Matters project. It was like an exhibit, a really awesome, great exhibit that was out in 2020, because we knew it was going to be a historical election. So I did a lot of the research, a lot of presentations, a lot of education, a lot of history, and it made me become more of an urban scholar and kind of like a political historian in a sense. So the presentation I just did technically for Black History Month for a company was talking about the history of voting rights for Black Americans and the power of the Black vote that was magnified in the 2020 election. So it's been a joy to bring that history and that education to the community, especially in environments where people are just not aware of what's happened in our history that's led us to these moments and what we're experiencing today. Yeah.
And it's so important for that persons stay connected. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything you do. It was really a blessing seeing some of the highlights on your posts, and I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So we look at you a strong Black woman in our community, and I'm sure there are a lot of persons along your way that contributed to that. And I think I wanted to just focus on one. And first of all, I must say condolences to you and your family. I think I believe you lost your grandmother.
I did.
And based on how you talk about her in your posts and stuff, follow her on Instagram, people. Let me put in that plug. Tell them your hashtags, please, for Instagram before we continue. Tell them how they can connect.
So Professor D, and that's D as in dog, E as in elephant, from the THA 313.
Right. Yes.
That's what you
in the building, people.
Detroit, born and bred, proudly.
Amen. Right. So what are some of the lessons that she taught you, or some of the things that even to this day, some of her little words that play in the back of your mind, you're like, like for us, our grandmother, some of the sayings that she gave us, every now and then we would say, Grandma used to say this. So for you, what was that? Those lessons that she taught.
Man, it's been a lot of lessons. So I've actually learned a lot of history from my grandmother, because she was 86.5, as I jokingly say. She was 86 and a half. So she came from Alabama, and that's known as Jim Crow South. So she experienced severe discrimination, lived through segregation. migrated to the North and had to make a family and became a part of that middle class where there was an industrial, boom. And she taught me a lot about what happened in the Black community in these generations, that led to where we're at today. And it just made me very proud because she was a hardworking woman and she was fearless. Like, they called her Gangsta Mary. Okay. Like, she was, when I tell you, she was fearless. So 2 things that really stuck out that she would always basically tell all of us is 1, FOE. So family over everything. Be down for your family, solid for your family, hold your family down, stay tight. And then to unapologetically be yourself and live your truth. So she did not bite her tongue. She told you how she felt and did not care what impact it had on you. So that could be good or bad, but it left a very lasting impression. And it's an honor for me to be one of her legacy holders, because she was blessed to see 5 generations. So
wow, that's a
I'll wear her proudly on my heart.
Yes. I keep seeing you talking about her. So I said I had to mention her in our conversation. Just have an idea of this awesome woman that paved the way for you. You said she grew up in the South, migrated to the North. That must have been some interesting experience for her back then. Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you were driving in your car, we want to get to know a little bit more of Miss Stacey. What would be that one music that we'll find you listening to?
Oh man, I have to confess that I am a trapologist. I love trap music. So I listen to a lot of Jeezy, Rick Ross, 2 Chainz, Jay-Z, Tupac. I listen to Tupac a lot because Tupac was very prolific.
Right. I was just going to say he had a philosophy
major
and he didn't know.
Yeah. I actually incorporated some quotes from Tupac's songs in my urban politics lectures from Keep Your Head Up and Changes, because he talked a lot about the plight of the Black community. So I love a good lyricist, a good J. Cole. Catch me listening to him too. So I got a soft side too. I listen to some neo soul, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu.
Right. You like a little bit of everything, but mainly what you call
trap music, gangster music.
I've never heard that one before.
So they call.
I know the genre, but how you call it? Tell me how you call it.
Yeah.
I like the way you put it together. Yep. Awesome. All right. So we're thinking about all of who Stacey is, and as you have grown over the years. The other day they had this 10-year challenge and whatever. I never did it, but I thought, what if you could say something to your 8-year-old self? So that's outside of that 10-year challenge. That would be like
30 years.
20 years. And I'm not meaning to put your age out there.
No, it's cool.
I don't know why I thought 8-year-old. I'm like, what would she say to her younger self? What age? I said 8 years old. What would you say to your younger self? It doesn't have to be the 8-year-old.
Wow. So when I was 8, so this is the funny thing. I was a nerd child and I just didn't realize it. So when I was 8, I watched People's Court. I watched Matlock a lot, Murder, She Wrote. I wanted to be a judge. I wanted to be just like Judge Wapner on the People's Court. And I'm telling my age when I say this. So I wanted to be a judge and I wanted to make a difference. So my 8-year-old self at that point thought that was going to be my journey, that I was going to be a lawyer and be a judge. So if I can tell my 8-year-old something, I would tell her, dream bigger. Just imagine what God could potentially have in store for you, because he always has greater than we can ever imagine. So just stay the course and don't get discouraged.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Indeed, dream bigger. That's a good plug, everybody. Dream bigger. All right. Let's not limit ourselves out there. No limitations and note to self. Awesome. All right. So Stacey, Professor Stacey, my apologies.
No, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
I don't want any of your followers to say you are rude.
It's all love.
I gotta respect the fact that you do have an awesome following. All right. Self-care. I like talking about that a lot what would you put in your, if you were to put it in a little bag or a little box, what would be some of the things that you would put in that bag or box that would say, this is what I do to just, you know, get my Zen, get my self-care routine going and stuff like that? What exactly would that be for you?
I actually had a good self-care day yesterday, actually, because, you know, grief in life is hard. So we have to do self-care for self-preservation, and that's more prevalent now than ever. So it will start out with a devotional. I read a devotional every week. It's like a theme. So this week I'm reading a devotional based on passion and purpose, like understanding your passion and your purpose. A few weeks ago, I was reading about, you know, processing grief and just kind of working through that. So devotionals, they kind of help me set the tone for the day, kind of meditation, some prayer, and then massages are a must. I had an excellent massage yesterday with hot stones and everything. It was great. Get you a pedicure, take yourself out to a nice restaurant for lunch or dinner or brunch, throw a mimosa in there if you need to. And don't be afraid to take like some getaways, you know, to some great places where the sun is shining and the warmness on your skin, just to kind of debrief from life. So my self-care package would consist of some massages, some meditation, some devotional reading, and some like quiet time, and definitely a glass of wine.
Definitely. Cha-ching.
Yes, God turned water into wine. You know what I'm saying?
Hi, I'm telling you, cha-ching.
That's a good wine.
That's a good bar. Let's raise our glasses.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yep. Yes, that's a good one. All right. So March is Women's History Month. There's when we think of all the greats, and we can even say kudos to your Glamour too, because she was a great, maybe she wasn't in anybody's great book, quote unquote, but she's a great woman. And when I say great book, meaning like, you know, like a celebrity person or something, but she's still someone great. And when we think about all the women, whether they were in somebody's big platform or not, we all stand on someone's shoulder. And so I just talked about reaching back, reaching forward. Is there any words of encouragement you'd want to share to any of our women, the young sisters coming up, women are in our age group, just to, you know, keep them going on a daily basis? Any words of encouragement?
The first word I would have to say, because again, I'm realizing how much of a priority self-care and self-love is. For a while, it seemed like a trend, but it's really very important, because once you have self-love and you understand your value and your worth, you don't have to settle for anything, and you can always strive for greatness, your greatness. Don't compare your greatness to others and what you think others look like. You only should be competing to be the best version of yourself. So what God's plan and destiny and purpose is for you, once you align with that and let him take control, life will seem much more fulfilling. So always, you know, focus on your passion, your purpose, and achieving your greatness, and don't settle. Never settle. You don't have to.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful gem. Never settle. Hashtag.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
I like that. And that's
law firms do settlements. We don't do that.
Right. Keeping your eyes, keep your eyes focused and just pressing towards that. So one more theme, but this time you're going to be talking to yourself.
Okay.
Projections. You know, something maybe you could give us a sneak peek of your vision board, where you see. I know you're working on your doctoral dissertation, so all the best to you with that. But where do you see yourself next 5 years, 10 years, if the Lord should tarry? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 to 5 years?
So I'm learning 5 to 10 years. Okay, so I'm learning. No, it's cool, because, you know, we think about things like that. We do, especially as women, we do. So I'm learning not to box myself in, because my mind works creatively. Like, it works logistically because I'm very analytical, but it's also creatively. And from a spiritual side, I'm learning better how to tap into my gifts and maximize those gifts for God's glory, but to maximize my purpose. So I'm understanding that we are assigned to people places, positions, and processes. And you can't skip none of them, right? So when we look from 5 to 10 years, I'm looking at becoming an author. I write a lot. So becoming an author, doing some mini documentaries on my journey and also the journeys of people very precious and historical figures that are like lost history to help people learn. And of course, continue educating inside and outside of the classroom, and maybe stepping into the role of like more of an academic advisor or a life coach. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good. I mean, it's so amazing. Like some of the different guests that the Lord would connect me with, speak so much to so many things inside. So when you started talking about being an author and some other stuff you were saying, it spoke to me. I always talking about my writing. So you just actually helped to quote me and say, come on.
Amen. See, that was my assignment. I understood the assignment, you see.
That's right. You're like, come on, get your writing on.
You got it.
Yeah, note to self again. This is about the third note you gave me.
Oh, see, that's the assignment. I'm telling you, it's there.
I'm telling you. Yep, and I don't want to take it lightly because, as you said, positioning with people, time, and things. I also have persons that I need to touch through my writing, so I don't want to waste any more of the time, right? Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we came to talk to Stacey, and apparently some of my life got oozed into this.
Yeah, I have that effect, and I think that's God's plan. That's part of my purpose.
Okay, well, you just have to be prepared, right? Because you never know.
Absolutely.
So, as we come to a close, ladies and gentlemen, I've taken on this custom at the end of every year since I've started my channel. I've done a toasting party, so you need to check those videos out where I just go down the list, tell persons to raise their glass if they did something in terms of an accomplishment. So I thought at the end of every one of my interviews, I'd start toasting my guests as a part of what my brand is. I like to celebrate. And me, if you're happy, I am there. If you're crying, I'll be there too. That's the kind of person I am. So I thought that person needed to, be happy more for other people. I just want to be the person that helps usher. I'm happy for you if nobody else is happy for you. So that's where I'm going with. So if you follow me, guys, you'll see all those kind of things going on my channel. So first of all, I raise my glass to all your accomplishments and all the best with your dissertation and all. I'm hoping to see the pictures if I'm not there in person, to see you walking across. Do you walk across the platform for the doctorate too?
Oh, you do. You get to walk first.
Right.
Cool.
Right. And all the things you're going to do with your documentaries and your books. We speak it into being even now. And I pray God's continued blessing upon you. May you continue to light the path of so many persons, enlighten persons' ignorance and darkness, and bring them into the blessed light of politics and whatever else you're going to be doing in life. I wish you all the best. Cheers, Professor.
Cheers. Manifestations. And that means we have to cheers to your manifestations of writing, being an author, continuing with these amazing podcasts and highlights of women and entrepreneurs and spreading like light and energy. So all of the best. And may 2022 be full of double down blessings for you.
Amen. I received that for you too, right?
Yeah.
Double down blessings, right? Well,
that was a good step.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to another episode. I hope you had your drink too with us. And it's going to be a full month, guys. Don't miss any of my episodes. I have a lovely woman coming on, and they're going to be sharing their life story, their life's journeys. I'm not even giving any hints, but just stay plugged in on that timeline. Just like how you saw this beautiful professor, I got a couple more awesome power women coming on. So be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making it according to Michelle. Thank you so much, Professor Stacey, for coming. God bless you. All the best in everything you do. Yes. I love you too. And bye, everybody. You take care. Remember to take care of you. You are number one. You're phenomenal. You're awesome. And one in a million. And as our dear professor says, never settle. All right, guys. Let's keep soaring. Have a blessed day.